Arcane helmets were introduced into Warframe on the 30th of January 2013, within Update 6 of the game. For those unaware about what Arcane helmets are, they were simply the standard variant of helmets back in the old days of Warframe. However, they are now dubbed Arcane helmets. These are simply the basic helmets that we wear now, however they have positive and negative statistical values applied to them. These values are static towards the helmet itself, and cannot be removed. These arcane helmets could be acquired by completing their alerts when they popped up or when purchasing them straight from the in-game market. Now on the 13th of July 2013, Update 9 Vor's Revenge was released, and this would be the last time that we saw statistical values applied to Warframe's new in-game helmets, as the next update, Update 10, would see the release of the Necros Rachnis helmet that has no statistical values applied to it. This was on September 14th of 2013. At this point, there were 27 Arcane helmets released. Now in 2014, on the 2nd of May, DE Drew released a forum post titled Stat Helmet Blueprint Changes. This forum post announced that the statistical-based helmets would be removed from the in-game alert cycle and from the marketplace, within a future hotfix that would be released a full week after the post had been created. The reason for their removal was provided within the post, within the following statement to the following question. Why the change, and what does it mean for cosmetics in the long term? Color pickers were the first cosmetic items. Then, in closed beta, alternate helmets were added to the game as a cosmetic item, but with stats. Some stats felt arbitrary and others felt mandatory for build optimization. Dev has commented that pulling stats on helmets was not a decision they felt is right in the long term. We cannot make a definitive statement on the future of stats with cosmetic items, because ultimately there are some players who still want stats or other boosts or customizations to play a role with cosmetics, and there are other players who want cosmetics to remain purely cosmetic. From that statement, a number of days passed, and on the 8th of May 2014, DE Drew provided a reason for not removing the stats as a number of players had suggested. The statement is as follows. The simple answer is that players have invested a lot of time, resources, and platinum into those helmets. A blanket change to all helmets might be easier and cleaner, but it would not be fair to players who do not want the change. We feel the right thing to do is offer anyone who has a stat helmet the choice to keep the stats. Adding the arcane type allows us to remove the stats from helmets without negatively affecting players who currently have stat helmets. As for the reason why they weren't implementing a new mod slot, it's a great idea and we've heard a lot of proposals for it. However, it requires time, commitment, testing, balance, and most importantly, it does not fit our current vision for cosmetic items. The goal of this change is to remove stats from helmets, not add more. Now, in response to the two forum posts in question, there were numerous players providing criticism of how arcane helmets were phased out of the game. Even in recent years, the topic has not died down. We did see a video release from Darthmufin highlighting his opinions on the topic, and of course we have players coming into the game asking why these were removed from the game, and players sharing their opinions. On the 8th of May 2014, Hotfix 13.2.3 was released, and as promised, the newly dubbed Arcane Helmets were removed from the market and the alert cycles. Players who had acquired the blueprints and built their Arcane Helmets were able to keep them within their inventory. However, for players who had not acquired any of these Arcane Helmets, that was no longer an option unless you trade with other players. As of recording this video, this is the only option of how you can get an Arcane Helmet. You must trade with other players for any of the 27 available, with platinum prices ranging from 50 platinum to 500, and they can only be traded when they're in their fully built form. Now, it shall also be noted that during this period of time, DE had provided stat-to-statless blueprints to owners of the Arcane Helmets in the case they no longer wanted the Arcane version. A showcase of the blueprint was provided by OriginalWickedFun during his look back on the Arcane Helmets. The prices for each of the Arcane Helmets will vary based on the person who is selling it. You can find the current going price by going to the Warframe Market website and using its search feature for Arcane and whatever helmet you want to get. The current most expensive Arcane helmet is the Rhino Vanguard helmet, Excalibur Pendragon, and Frost Squall helmet.